people don't actually know is that the manifestation part of creating our new reality is actually the second part in the process. The first part is actually our self-concept. We can't and we don't manifest unless we believe that we are going to be able to manifest it. Our ideas come from our subconscious brain, our self-concept. And so a lot of people will try to manifest without looking at their self-concept. They will try to manifest, but they're skipping to step 2 and ignoring step 1, and then they wonder why it takes too long for it to arrive, or why it doesn't come at all. Our self-concept creates our entire reality, and our self-concept is our #1 contribution to how well we manifest. Our self-concept is literally just what we believe about ourselves, who we see we are, who we want to become. Everything about our identity is our self-concept. It's our image, it's our identity, and it directly relates to the law of assumption. What we assume about ourselves becomes our reality. If we don't assume that something is true or something is possible, we won't take action. It's an entire self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think that you're incapable of getting a job, you won't apply for it, will you? When you have low self-esteem and you have low self-confidence, you're less likely to set higher goals for yourself, and therefore you won't ever achieve those higher goals because you never actually took action against them. And if our self-concept isn't actually aligned with our reality, for example, we don't take the action that's aligned with who we want to become, the person that we want to become is stuck behind all of our negative beliefs, there is incongruence there. Our identity right now doesn't align with the person that we want to become, and this is when the negative effects happen. This is where we become reactive to the world. We think negatively about everything, including ourselves, because all of the effects in our external world is a direct reflection of what's going on the inside. This obviously directly impacts our ability to manifest. So what actually makes up our self-concept, right? Carl Rogers, a very famous psychologist, has 3 main ways of describing what your self-concept is. It's your self-image, it's your ideal self, and it's your self-esteem. Our ideal self is who we want to become. So if we're not actively contributing and working on ourselves to go into that direction of who we want to become, we're obviously going to feel a bit ratty on the inside because there's an incongruence there, there's a huge gap there. And if we're not acting in integrity with who we actually are on the inside, there is again going to be incongruence, and that's where the negative thoughts, the negative beliefs, lack of action occurs, bad thoughts about our abilities, and our whole confidence comes down. This affects our self-image and our self-esteem. So our self-image is literally just how we see ourselves in the world, and then our self-esteem is just how confident we actually are as a person and in who we are. And when there's incongruence between who we want to become and our self-images, then that's when obviously we're going to get depressed. And this is what causes all of the negative emotions in our life that cause us to slow down manifesting or not manifest at all. And therefore it causes us to have a low vibration, and is just this whole massive thing about manifestation, because you don't go after something if you don't believe it's possible or it's incongruent with who you actually want to become. We have to know who we want to become so that we can start taking aligned action in order to get in that direction, right? And just because you're not sat in self-pity all the time, it doesn't mean that you have a solid self-concept. Everyone experienced a different life up until now, and unless you had complete and utter control over your entire life, we all have issues to work on. We all have a self-concept that's a little bit wobbly, and a self-concept that's impacting our ability to manifest. And the sooner you realize where you're at with your self-concept and you get to know yourself a lot better, then you're going to be able to realize what's impacting your manifestations and how to actually excel your ability to manifest. This is a perfect example of how psychology actually backs up manifestation entirely, because our whole entire self, we create our reality. Our reticular activating system is literally the thing that's responsible for saying, I told you so. It's the part of our brains that's responsible for feeding the ego, not the super ego, but the ego. It's responsible for feeding the ego to make ourselves feel better. And a lot of the time, a lot of people, they have a wounded ego. So they're constantly reactive, right? They're stubborn. They have low self-worth in certain areas. It's not just like a low self-worth in general. They have low confidence. And we all have these small little negative traits. Again, just because you're not depressed, sitting in self-pity with a bad life, it doesn't mean that you're not stubborn. Like, I'm stubborn. I'm a stubborn person. I'm working on it, you know? It doesn't mean that we're bad people or we're having a bad life. And when we give ourselves things to look out for by believing that they're possible for us, by having a good self-concept, we therefore allow the reticular activating system to look for those things in our life. If you say to yourself today, I want to see a lovely orange butterfly with little spots on its wings, the likelihood is your reticular activating system, well, it's a fact, your reticular activating system is therefore going to start looking for orange butterflies subconsciously. It's going to be like an unanswered question in your brain, which, by the way, the reason why open-ended questions, affirmations work, like, how am I this successful, is again the same thing. Your brain is constantly looking for that answer, and unless you don't feed your brain with the answer, it's going to be forever looking for it. So when you watch these mystery programs, murder mysteries, any kind of mysteries, it leaves this open-ended question in your brain and it never gets resolved, and it's constantly taking up brain power. So yes, affirmations with open-ended questions are great because then it feeds your reticular activating system with something to look out for. Same with the orange butterfly. It's going to be constantly looking for that orange butterfly, and then when it does find it, finally it can say, see, I told you so, there's the orange butterfly, you were right, here you go ego, here's a little boost. That's what you need to be feeding yourself. That's what you need to be retraining your brain to work in your favour for. Because obviously the subconscious brain takes up 95% of your brain power, so it's actually a superpower of ours. And if we ignore it, we're ignoring 95% of our entire manifesting power. Now, subconscious brain is literally our entire self-concept. When you're dreaming at night, and you have these really weird dreams, it means something because your subconscious brain has created those images. Another psychologist suggests that everyone in your dreams is a reflection of you. Everyone in your dreams is a version of you. So there's no characters in your dreams, it's all just you. It's all just versions of you. And this whole scene means something to your subconscious brain, and a lot of the time it's actually answers on what you need to work on. So if you keep having the same weird dream of flooding or being impatient, oh my gosh, being impatient was a massive dream I used to have, and it was an entire reflection of how much pressure I was putting on myself to manifest this huge thing. And my brain was telling me all the time, this is you being impatient, you're being impatient. If I'd have listened to that dream and I'd have stopped being so impatient, I would have actually manifested it, but I didn't. Because I didn't listen to my subconscious brain that was clearly showing me what was going on in my life and all the different versions of me in that dream that were creating this whole impatience. Like, I was waiting on someone, but I was actually waiting on myself because myself was the character in that dream. I was waiting on myself. So when you start decoding your subconscious brain, oh my gosh, it's like a sea of unanswers that you have been wondering the answer for this entire time. So as within, so below. As above, so below, sorry. As within, so without. Look inside of you. Change your self-concept. And then you can get on to the second step, which is manifesting. So I hope this video helped you. Of course, if you want the one-on-one help, then I have the Passive Princess Shadow Work package where we work on dissolving those bad beliefs that are preventing you from achieving your desires, all of the negative thoughts and beliefs that you don't even realise are going on in your brain because, again, it's subconscious, it's the 95%, impacting your reality massively. So if you want some prompts on how to do the shadow work and do the self-concept work, change your identity because your identity creates your personal reality, have the Passive Princess Shadow Work package. It's going to be on offer for this week only. It's going to be on offer for £99, which is more than half price. It used to be £222, so it's going to be £99 for literally this week only. It's going to be a limited time deal, so if you want the extra help, then make sure you sign up to the package down below, and I'll see you on the other side. Have a lovely day. See you later. Bye.